Hey, what up, homies? It's your man's Coach Schmeta. We coming to you live from our PS3. It is currently our end of the season address of our Gonzaga Bulldogs restricted dynasty. The first year is in the books. We ended up 9-5 overall, 5-3 in conference. Surprisingly, we won the West Division of the Mountain West Conference. Then we went on to win the Mountain West Conference Championship in a rematch against BYU, where we absolutely put the future Heisman winning quarterback Taysom Hill and his offense in a box. Then we went on to win the Armed Forces Bowl versus Western Kentucky, barely, just a tip. And now we'll be going into our first offseason, maybe the most important offseason in program history, because we can only go. We'd like to go up, but we could also go down. We could regress. It all depends, man. It all depends. The offseason is very important, so we're gonna give it the time and the love and care that it deserves. But first, we got to get to how this season ended. First, team success. Ohio State is our national champions. It was a real rotating door of who was number 1, number 2, number 3, because all the Power 5 schools were beating up on each other in conference, and then they beat up on each other in the bowl games. And at the end of the day, Ohio State beats TCU by 3 points to win the national championship. Congratulations to them. I hope nothing but bad things happen, because this is where we want to be, but there's steps, there's levels to this. We have no chance of competing with teams at that caliber right now. We saw it UCLA. UCLA finished 3rd. The Mountain West Conference, for every one of our recruits who's on this team, you get +1 attribute for your contributions. And the first one will be Mr. Payne, first team all-conference receiver. Yeah, we're not going to go into details here. Mr. Enna, first team all middle linebacker. And then, of course, Toast, Kellen Downs. Somehow, hey man, he ended the season strong. He definitely had a couple of games where he wasn't the guy getting destroyed. Buchanan, first team all conference, as well as Mr. Charles Osborne. And if you were paying attention, you recognize some of these names. Oh, this guy here. So tough. He'll be back. We'll have to deal with him. Second team all conference players. Not so much for us. Just Mr. Mixon, a senior. He'll be leaving. We'll have to replace what he did both in coverage and in the run game. But he's our lone second team all conference player. Now we did have our inaugural recruiting class. It was 10 players. 4 of them were freshman All-Americans. Running back Trent Womack, receiver Hunter Payne, linebacker Terrell Eanes, who we will be moving from linebacker either to safety or corner. Haven't made the decision yet. Most likely safety, but it'll depend on how our depth chart lines up, because we will definitely have him on the field. He is a big contributor to our defense. And of course, our all-everything, Mr. Kenneth Enna. So, if you're all conference, +1 attribute. You're all freshman, +1 attribute. So that's 2 if you're on both. For those of you who can't do the math. In the Discord chat, I teased that we had 1 All-American. This is not all conference. This is not because you're a freshman. This is All-American. You're up here with these guys. A lot of these guys are going to be NFL guys. They're getting drafted. We had 1 guy. 1 guy. What was your guess? It's not Mr. Womack, not Mr. Deisering, not Mr. Payne, not Mr. Johnson, not Mr. Marroquin. It was Kenneth Enna. Led the country in tackles. Like I said, all everything for us. Didn't quite get the shine on the national level. He was part of no awards. That should change next year. He'll be, like I said, he'll be coming into next year as an All-American. That's huge for Gonzaga. He's the first All-American in program history. If you have 2 hands, clap. Give a golf clap for Mr. Kenneth Enna. That gives you another point in your attributes to put Mr. Enna. So that gives you 3. just in case you weren't counting. I know you were. I know you were. And we're going to do a quick scroll through on the final stats for our guys, because I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. Just, you know, a good chance to look at how you performed. And that's pretty much it, because we got a lot to get into, especially how guys are going to progress into next season. But Deisering, 3155 passing, 23 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 76% completion percentage, sacked 23 times. That we got to get that number down. We must protect Deisering better. But solid freshman year. Look forward to seeing what he can do next season. Our leading rusher was starting running back Trent Womack. 1112 yards, essentially 80 yards a game, essentially 6 yards a carry, 12 touchdowns on the ground. He was also able to contribute through the air, 40 receptions, no touchdowns, but that wasn't really his job. His job was to tote that thing for us, be part of our triumvirate of running backs who contributed heavily to our run game, despite the woes we had at the offensive line. Johnson, our speed guy, 825 yards on the ground, 5.7 average, 58 yards a game, 8 rushing touchdowns. He also contributed through the air. We're going to change how we use Johnson. We're going to move him to the H-back next year. He's going to be a guy who he's going to line up in a slot. We're going to motion him. We're going to throw him bubble screens. We're going to all kinds of things with him. And he'll still be a running back, but much more, we're going to use him as a weapon to kind of complement the other things we've got going on offense. Jason Marroquin, our fullback, is a glorified power back. He was huge for us in short yardage situations. Ended up with 620 yards, 5.3 yards a carry, 12 rushing touchdowns. Hey, this guy was an absolute just a bowling ball, a hoss. We didn't throw him the ball all year. We may change that next year. We will see. But a valuable member of the team, and we'll use him the same way next year. Like he's gonna be our power back. He's gonna be the guy with a little more size to deal punishment to our opponents as much as possible. Our leading receiver, Mr. Hunter Payne, both receptions and yards. 9 touchdowns, 12.1 yards per reception. We want to try to get that up to 15, somewhere between 15 and 18 next year. He will be our X receiver. He will be the guy. He's going to take on the other team's best corner, and hopefully he can be a little more consistent for us. But as far as a guy who threatens the defense just by being on the field, it is Hunter Payne. He's our most explosive receiver. Our most reliable receiver, Mr. Zach Madman Marshall. This guy just went over the middle, took all kinds of schmikes all year, running a lot of option routes, a lot of slants, a lot of 5-yard outs, couple of posts. Every once in a while we were able to sneak him behind the defense, the smash concept, and he was just very consistent for us. We're going to move him out of the slot primarily. He'll still play some slot, but he's going to move over to our Z spot. Basically, our receiver who's off the ball. We'll try to give him some wiggle room and allow him to work certain matchups underneath, while Payne stretches the defense over the top. But 671 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 4 drops. He had a pretty good season considering the amount of times he got hit and blown up. Only 4 drops. Defensively, Mr. Inna. There's not much more to say about what this guy did for us. He was in the middle. His job was to go sideline to sideline, spot some quarterbacks, and deliver some schmikes, shoot into the backfield. He had 82 tackles, solo tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 4 QB sacks. Not much in the pass game defensively, but that wasn't his job. And of course, I think we only had 1 fumble recovery all year. They just kept getting called back on us, but he'll pretty much be in the same position next year. Just a guy who's expected to clean up everything. Because we will have problems defensively again. We'll be young, but we're starting to build some talent here. Mr. Terrell Eanes, our another speedy coverage linebacker. Little undersized. We will be moving him to the secondary. It'll be either safety or corner. We haven't decided yet. It really kind of depends on where we are once we get through the spring game and all of that, and the spring training, and we see where we need him, because we may need him outside. We may move him back to safety. If we're losing Mixon, and a guy like Eanes is perfect to replace him. So we'll see. But Mr. Eanes, 51 tackles, 3 sacks, an interception, 2 pass breakups. Solid freshman season. Mr. Jacob Ware led the team in tackles for loss. I think he was 3rd in sacks with 3. Had a forced fumble. Solid season. We weren't able to always get the matchups we wanted, but slowly but surely we started getting the pressure we wanted as far as on quarterbacks. Next year, we look to continue the same thing. Hopefully, we'll improve up front, which will free up Ware to do more, specific matchup-specific type stuff where we get him on a certain guard, a certain tackle, and just let him wreak havoc, man. But Mr. Ware, 35 tackles, 16 for loss, 3 sacks. Last but certainly not least, William Moore. He came on late. He didn't start. He was playing behind Buchanan. We moved him up the depth chart as a strong safety to play behind Mixon, as well as on the field with Mixon. And he quickly started racking up tackles. Very aggressive player, very downhill, no nonsense. Just comes to play, comes to hit somebody, and hopefully next season we'll be able to do more with him. We'll move him around, but we definitely will have him on the field because he's a good player, and hopefully he has a really good offseason, and we'll be able to use him more next year. So already looking at coaching changes, first thing I'm seeing, Mike Leach is now the OC for BYU. So now their offense just got that much stronger under Coach Bronco Mendenhall. Their air raid offense, yikes. Continuing to look. I don't see anything, nothing too crazy. We lost Coach Jackson. Our new offensive coordinator is Steve Fairchild. So we'll see what kind of stuff he brings to the program. Hopefully positive things, because we were good offensively statistically by comparison, but we weren't as explosive as we'd like to be. And hopefully bringing in Coach Fairchild changes some of that. Hawaii lost Norm Chow. That is interesting. Their new head coach is Lawrence Dawsey. We'll have to prepare for that. I don't know I'll have to look at what he do, because last year Hawaii gave us some problems, but they were a little more under center. I wonder, what does Dawsey bring to their team? I don't know how to feel about this one. Kirby Smart is now the head coach at Utah State. That is a lot. Oh man. Now I mean they lose Josh Heupel, but Kirby Smart. Oh boy. That's, yeah. Utah State may have just jumped up a tier in our conference. That A+, boy. Do not shed a single manly tear, okay? You hold that in. You keep that on the inside. We our first graduating class. We'll sort it by overalls. You know them, you love them, you hate them. It's always tough to see your first group of guys go, but we thank them for their service. They were only here a year. They helped us start the program. Hopefully, you don't forget any of these names anytime soon. Corey Mansfield, obviously, and Mixon were the 2 guys who stuck out the most. Chambers, our guards weren't bad. They weren't great, but they weren't bad. But losing Chambers, that hurts. That's a lot of experience on the offensive line, as well as Montgomery, but we will have to replace them. I've got no words for this guy. Okay, so our second recruiting class in program history, we end up 93rd in the country, 7 3-stars, 12 2-stars, and 3 1-stars for a total of 22 total recruits. This is what they look like, my guys. Now, already, how our replacing recruits works is the recruiting class comes out, players get a chance to look at them, first come, first serve. We have tiers to how you start, so you'll be replacing whatever player you choose. First and foremost, Grigsby has already been replaced. Coleman has already been replaced, and Harrell have already been replaced. So 3 of the 22 spots have already been taken. If you would like to be one of the recruits and join the Gonzaga Bulldogs football team, simply respond when I put out the beacon. I'm going to put it in the forum, and then I'm going to put it also in the comment section of this video. It'll be first come, first served. If you are not subscribed, you will start off as a 62 overall. Oh, well, let me back up. Give me your name, your height, your weight, the position, which player you want to take over or replace, the number you would like to get, the style of player you are, depending on what position you choose, and then you lean more to the example, you're a receiver. Are you more of a speed guy, a possession guy, and vice versa? And then any specific swag you want to rock. If you are not subscribed, you're just now finding out about this and you want to be a part of it, you will start off as a 62 overall. If you are subscribed, and you gotta just screenshot that you're subscribed. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. You'll start off as a 65. That's if you just subscribe when you find this out and you haven't been interacting. If you've been an A1 since day one, you start off as a 68. We do have recruiting restrictions. One has been lifted for us. Because we won the Mountain West Conference, we now can attempt to go get 4-star recruits. Doesn't mean we'll get them. It'll actually be, I don't expect us to get one this year, but we'll see. A couple of our programs, abilities, markers, whatever you want to call them, they've gone up. So now we have access to more players than before, but that's how that process works. Once you take over a player, you then week by week, as we progress through the season, as we play the games, watch the videos, like the videos, and in the comment section of those videos, tell me where you would like to put an attribute point. That's your reward for watching and liking the video. An attribute point into the player. We have caps, 2 for speed, 5 for any other singular attribute. So, if you're a linebacker, you can put 5 into tackling, and then you can't put any more into tackling for the season. I had another point, but I'll get onto it again at in the next episode when we start the season. I'll go a little more even more in depth into that. But yeah, these are what the guys look like, and for all intents and purposes, we got a lot of guys, a lot of Northwest kids though, a lot of Northwest, the vast majority Northwest, Washington, California, Idaho, Oregon. That's where we recruit. That's where we got our kids from. That's how we're going to build this program. All right, so drum roll. It's time to see what guys we're putting in the offseason. Who's really down for the team? You know what I'm saying? For the band. For the band. We're going to go position by position. We're also going to take a look at the overalls. This does not include the point for the bowl game, so you'll still be getting that point added to you. Mr. Deisering, +4 overall. Where those changes happen, hey man, I'm not a math whiz, but this is what his attributes are coming into the next season. Have a good look. Have a good look. And like I said, this does not include the points you earned that we're going to be putting from the bowl game. So those are still going to be added before the start of next season. Mr. Womack went up 4 overall. So another good training. That's pretty much the norm. 3, 4 overall. So once again, just showing off what the mans can do. I think that's strength. Yeah. Mr. Johnson, 4 overall improvement as well. Got a little faster. He's now at 93, 94 acceleration. He's our elusive guy. Got a little more elusive. Marroquin, +4 overall. Mr. Payne got 6 overall. Better in the offseason. Something's up with this kid. I like his work ethic. I like everything he's doing. I don't care what he's doing. I like it. For whatever reason, this guy just keeps getting better. Zach Madman Marshall, 4 overall improvement in the offseason. Easily, our most consistent receiver, but yeah, he just he's becoming a guy who does a little bit of everything. A lot of what Mansfield did is what Marshall is now going to be required to do, and he's well on his way. Mr. Enna, 6 overall improvement. Got faster, stronger, the tackling went up, the play recognition went up. Oh man, this dude here. Even gained 3 pounds. Turn up. Mr. Ware, 4 overall improvement. Like I said, he's our block shedding pass rusher. That acceleration, that block shed, those finesse moves, they all went up. The injury, he's becoming much more solid. I expect him to have a much more direct impact on the games this year. Mr. Moore, 4 overall improvement from last season. Once again, he's just going to be asked to do a lot of the things he did last year. He'll still be playing behind Buchanan, but when called upon, he was productive. He was physical. There was no hesitation in a lot of what he did, and we'll be asking him to do that a lot this year as well. Mr. Eanes, he had the position change. What we're going to do with his awareness is bump it back to where it was at the end of last season. But position changed over to strong safety. He will be an immediate impact player for us. Now he'll be actually do much more in coverage, but we're still going to blitz him. He's got the speed and acceleration to come off the edge and do a lot of what he did last year. He's just going to do it from a different angle now. Sometimes he'll be up top. Sometimes he'll be, providing help to our corners. But for the most part, he's going to be involved. He's going to be another guy coming downhill and being very involved in what we do defensively. Now, as far as the rest of the squad, take note, because if you're going to be replacing one of these recruits, you're going to need to know what you're going up against. And I'm not going to play you if your overall isn't higher. So make sure to take note of what's going on with your opponents. If you're going to be in a position battle this spring, hey man, you better be putting in that work, because there will be situations where you're just lined up against somebody who's better than you. So I'll go through these slowly. If you need it, you can just come back to it. This is huge. This is really big for us. We now have an 80 overall offensive lineman at center, and I believe our right tackle is better than what we had last year. So our offensive line improved. Defensive line maybe solid this year. Hayes is an 80 overall. Covert up to 74. That's big for us. Here's where we're weak. We're still really weak at defensive tackle. But hey, there are spots to be had, and if you want to have them, go get them. All right, so we are officially at the beginning of our second full season as a program. Looking at what improved and what did not, academic prestige still stayed where it is. Coach prestige, we're now A-. That's going to help with recruiting. Campus lifestyle and academic prestige is pretty much what we offered players last year. Hey, you want to come hang out? Spokane is pretty cool, bro. I'm not sure if the conference prestige went up or not. I thought we did a good job of representing. Boise State, BYU. We had some pretty good teams. We're no slouches. We're C+ now at television exposure because of, obviously, we were on a lot of games last year and we did well. Stadium atmosphere, we cannot add a point to scouting until we are meeting certain revenue and attendance goals, which is 40,000 before we can add a point to into our scouting. Coach stability, hey, we're not in the D's anymore. Championship contender, we're at D+, which is way better than what it was last year. Pro potential, nope, we sent nobody to the pros last year. We may this year. Our athletic facilities improved just a bit. We're not booty butt cheeks now, we're just left and right cheek. And our program tradition last year was not enough to make it a significant boost in that. But that's what we look like going into the second season. Like I said, we'll have the full table of recruits and all of that in the next episode. So thank you for watching. See you next episode. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe.